All right, everyone. Here is a Keystone Air Accelerator 12-inch desk table fan. Just making a little video of this fan because I've had nothing but luck with Keystone smaller fans, so I figured I would try one of their bigger fans. So once again, still trying to find out who really outsources these Keystone fans. If you do have any information on that, though, that would be greatly appreciated. This is, of course, another brushless DC motor fan, although this one is a lot smaller than my other ones. This is a 12-inch. There's two different variations of this fan. There's the one that you see here, which is a 7-speed digital controlled one. Then there's another one, which is a 6-speed model that's a little bit smaller. Instead of having a digital readout screen, it just has an indicator light for each speed. I think that's the main difference between the two. I think another thing that might be different is that this one actually has a timer off and timer on feature. Essentially, timer on will start the fan within 2 hours, 4 hours, or 6 hours. You can delay it to turn on. Never really understood that feature, but hey, you know what? It's a cool feature regardless. So Keystone is a brand that you typically would find online. I know eBay has these fans, Amazon does, and even Home Depot you can actually find these fans, which I find kind of bizarre, but that's okay. Much like the other brand that I definitely want to make a video of soon, SPT, Sunpintown, they just make all kinds of weird fans that you typically wouldn't see in the store, but maybe you would see overseas. Like this design, you definitely would not find commonly in the US. I'm pretty sure, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but you would typically see these fans a lot overseas, like probably in Asia, and I'm sure there's even more places than that. Just not something you would typically find in the US, which makes this fan all the more unique. And really, the purpose of being called a desk table fan is the fact that you can push it down and have it as a oversized desk fan. I find the base to be way too big to even put on a table, but I'm sure you can make it work if you wanted to. The fan also does adjust too down. It does adjust up too, which is pretty cool. Here's the back of the motor. So the motor actually really isn't as big as the housing makes it to look. But I will say this, the performance, the performance on this fan is really good. The motor does not hesitate at all to get up to speed, and actually the motor has way more than enough power to actually power even a 16-inch fan, which is a 16-inch blade, which is really cool. So since the controls are essentially toe touch, or if you just crawl on the floor to get to them and touch them, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use the remote to show all the features. Basically, you have on, off, speed, oscillation, timer off, comfort, and timer on. So without further ado, let me go ahead and just demonstrate this fan. So we'll start it off on, it'll start off on speed 4 and then go down to speed 2. I'll go ahead and put that down to speed 1. So essentially the air accelerator part is the little spinny part in the grill. Doesn't really do much than just spin. It has no function whatsoever, but it does look pretty cool. I'll give it that. It is very quiet on the low speed. Also put it on oscillation. It's also worth mentioning, as I can barely speak today, I got this fan off of Amazon's Renewed. I did not buy this fan new. I was gonna make a video of one of these down the line later, but I saw one that was half price of one new on Amazon's Renewed, and if I knew it was this good, I would just buy new. Luckily, this fan actually was new. I assume maybe a customer didn't want it, and they just opened up the box, looked inside, made sure that everything was intact, and just shipped it out to me, and that's fine with me. Here's speed 2. The box was a little damaged, but it shipped in its own box too, so Amazon had me covered. Here's speed 3. Speed 4. Speed 5. Speed 6. And speed 7. So definitely not your average 16-inch or 16-inch or 12-inch pedestal fan. It definitely moves quite a lot of air, and it really does it quietly too. It's also worth mentioning that 12-inch pedestal fans are quite scarce anyways today, so that's pretty cool. The next mode that I'm going to show too is the comfort mode. Which really more or less just adjusts the speed quite fast to simulate a natural breeze. You do have 4 different settings. You have 1, which goes from 1 to off, 3, 5, and 7. Which I think it does it way too fast, but just a personal opinion. I will definitely never use that feature, but it's there if anybody does want to use it, I guess. Timer off too. Oh. So that is the Keystone Air Accelerator pedestal fan. I would say the only con that I have with this fan personally is the fact that the cord is so short. I mean, I feel like they could have done a better job with a bigger cord, but you know what? That's okay. I can always use an extension cord, so I really don't care that much about it. I just think it's worth mentioning. And also, this one does not shut off after 12 hours, which I really like. You can use it until the end of time. There's no sort of shut off if you don't have the timer on. Now, I am going to just show you this instruction manual because this is actually really weird. This is what it does say. There's no sort of OEM mentioned at all in here, which I find quite surprising. But if we do look at the back, which is done in very broken down English, but enough to understand, I guess. If you read how to store, looks like it almost says, clean the motor shaft and put oil on the motor shaft and put the cover back on the motor shaft. Not exactly sure what that means, but I'm pretty sure it's saying to put some sort of oil on the motor shaft, which I find very weird. But yeah, but basically it just shows how to use the fan, and you can definitely get your way through. Some areas of this instruction manual are in fluent English, and I feel like towards the end they're like, whatever. But it's okay. It just illustrates all the parts, and that's pretty much it. So that's the Keystone Air Accelerator desk pedestal fan. Thank you so much for watching. A fantastic fan indeed.